So in the last video, we have sorted a list with the help of this comparator interface. So using comparator interface, you can just sort a list in any order you want. So we have sorted this list in a descending order. Now what we'll do is we'll make this code more efficient. Now if you observe this object here, which is S, we are using this object only once, right? So what we can do, we can directly use a anonymous object here, which is numbers. I will give a bracket. So since we are going for anonymous object, we don't require this referenced object now. And still, if I run this code, you will get the same output that you were getting the last example, and the output is same, right? Now, now if you focus on this class, which is sort numbers, the sole purpose of this class here is to implement a comparator interface. We are using this class only once here. So what we can do, instead of defining the whole class, we can use an anonymous class here. So we can simply say new comparator, and in bracket we can specify the type of the element it will have is integers. And then in this bracket, we can define this method which is compare. So we can just copy this code, the whole code, let's say copy, and let's go up, and here let's paste it. Okay, let me do the formatting first. So if I give tab. Now if you can see, I'm doing the same thing, but instead of defining a different class, I'm sorting those elements in the same class. Or we are using here anonymous class, which is a new comparator, and we are providing definition for the comparator. Okay, so if I run this code now, and the output is still same, right? So we can use this anonymous class for the comparator interface to sort the elements. Even instead of this code here, what we can do is we can use something called as a ternary operator. Now how to use ternary operator? We can simply specify a return here. Now in return what we'll check is if I is, let's first see the logic. So it was if I is less than 1, we need to return 1. If I is greater than 1, we have to return minus 1. Otherwise we have to return 0. So what we'll do is we can simply say it as return, and in return we'll specify, let's say if I is less than j, will return, so we'll return a 1. Otherwise, we need to check if I is greater than j. In that scenario, we'll return minus 1. Otherwise, we'll return a value which is 0. And if we run this code now, so let's run this code, and the output is still same. So this is how you can make your code more efficient and fast. So if you can see, we are not wasting any extra class. We are using anonymous class, and we are using a ternary operator instead of using if else, which will reduce the number of lines. So basically how ternary works is it will check for the condition here. If this condition is true, it will say 1. Otherwise, if this condition is false, it will go to this condition then. If this is true, then it will execute minus 1. Otherwise, the answer is 0. Clear? So let me run it again. So the output you are getting is the reverse order.